The Handmaid's Tale is now approaching its end. After 8 years, 6 seasons, and 64 episodes, we're now left with only 2 remaining. Following the most recent episode where we saw the game change completely, with Serena seeing Commander Wharton for who he truly was moments after their wedding, June killing Commander Bell and leading the girls to what looked like the border of Gilead, and Aunt Lydia changing sides and looking to go on her redemption arc. The next 2 episodes look like they could be the bloodbath that we were all looking for and expecting in episode 8. With the penultimate episode being titled Execution, it looks like Gilead could well be hitting back against the handmaids that have weakened the leadership and are now looking to make them pay. So with that, I thought I'd give my theories and predictions, as well as look at the clips from the preview that could be featured within it and share what I feel could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is The Handmaid's Tale Season 6 Episode 9 Theories Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Gilead's response to the Handmaids. One thing that I think is going to be at the epicenter of the next episode is that we'll see Gilead responding to the attack that took place on them. I'm imagining many of the commanders are going to be dead following what we saw at the end of the episode, with several handmaids sneaking up on them during the night, and with the likes of High Commander Wharton being notified, we'll most likely see him wanting to round up those that were responsible and make them pay. This is where I feel we'll see this clip in the trailer from. With Wharton now being without Serena, or at least showing his true colors to her, there's no more hiding that he needs to do. So I think he'll be the one personally leading the execution, because in his eyes, it'll be many of his brothers that would have fallen at the hands of the handmaids. This would show us even more how much of a traditional man of Gilead Commander Wharton is, and by executing all that were involved in such a public way, it'll cement his position as a Gilead traditionalist. I actually think a large group of the handmaids will be collected whether they were guilty or not, because the whole conspiracy against Gilead will be enough of a crime to warrant their death. So any of the handmaids that didn't flee and potentially cross the border with June, Moira, Janine and co, they're most definitely not going to be safe. Commander Wharton choosing to do it in such a public way as well, it makes me think that he's doing that as a warning to everybody else that's inside of Gilead. Essentially showing that if you try to wrong the authorities or turn your back on Gilead, then you'll be punished for it. This will also most likely cause other nations to stop the advancement in sending refugees back, because they'll see Gilead hasn't changed in the slightest. I also think Gilead's response to the attack on a broader scale will be to loosen the softness of New Bethlehem. We know that the commanders and the wives didn't actually agree with Commander Lawrence's approach in New Bethlehem, so I think we could see the progression now starting to regress. Within the trailer, it looked like a large battle was going to be commencing between the likes of Gilead and Mayday on the streets. So I do wonder if June and co making it across the border will allow the likes of Mark to round up an army and go in and attack them while they're perceived to be weak, with many of the commanders being taken out. This is what makes me think that not all of the people that are facing the gallows will be killed, and some will get away with it because it'll be disrupted by the chaos. So I think that battle that we saw in the trailer could well be happening in the next episode. High Commander Wharton and Serena. With regards to Wharton and Serena, we saw that their relationship took a turn for the worse the moment that he carried her over the threshold, with him revealing his true colours and that he wasn't going to facilitate and listen to her progressive views, such as not needing a handmaid. Wharton allowed Serena to leave the house and go where she pleased with Noah, something that did surprise me considering he originally said that she wasn't allowed to leave. I think there are 2 different directions that this could go in. I wonder if Serena did actually end up having some of the cake that was laced with the substance that rendered those that ate it unconscious, and she's going to end up passing out before she gets to where she planned on going, which I think is going to be Commander Lawrence's home, as he seems to be a good ally of hers at the moment. With her passing out, we could see Commander Wharton find her on the ground, or he might have even tasked one of the Guardians to follow her with the hopes of finding out where she was going. And then, with that, he could take her back to the home and almost keep her like some kind of prisoner. This would connect to the way that he'd been acting, and with her voice now silenced, a voice that is often so impactful when speaking to the people of Gilead, that could allow him to act in a way that he wants by coming down with a harsh fist. A different way that I could see this story unfolding is that she could end up making it to Commander Lawrence's home, and then, whilst she's there, I imagine she'll tell Lawrence about the way that Wharton is and that she feels foolish for marrying him. This is where I think Commander Lawrence could tell Serena about the plan that took place and that the handmaids were fighting back. This would then make Serena think about what's happening in a different light, and we'd see her decide whether or not she'd reveal the information or if she'd keep it to herself, something which will allow us to see which side she's truly on. I also think there's a chance that we could see Naomi reveal Serena's location to Commander Wharton if she does go to their home. She's the opposite to Serena, in the sense that she doesn't want progression, as we heard when New Bethlehem was being spoken about with the reintegration of the Handmaids. Pair that with the dirty look that she was giving Serena as she was walking down the aisle, and I reckon she could be the catalyst of causing a little bit of chaos. Janine. With regards to Janine, I think there are also a couple of different ways that her story could go in the next episode. The first is that I think there is a chance that she's going to be the only character to get a clear-cut happy ending. Janine has suffered so much throughout the show, and if anybody deserves one, I feel it should be her. We saw her captor, Commander Bell, being killed in the most recent episode, which I feel was symbolic of her beginning her journey to freedom. There's obviously going to be a lot of chaos in the next episode with the execution that's set to take place. But I think during this chaos we could see Commander Lawrence assisting Janine in reuniting her with her daughter and getting them both out of Gilead. Commander Lawrence knows just how much Janine wants to be with her daughter, and with him giving her the drawings that she'd been doing, and with Gilead looking like it's going to be returning to a more traditional place, rather than adopting more of New Bethlehem's beliefs, Lawrence might view it as better for Angela to actually be with her mother, not inside of Gilead. So I feel we could either see that happening or the foundations for that plan being laid down, so it could eventually happen in the finale. June Osborne. Then we're left with June. June loves saving the day, so when the fight returns to Gilead, she's definitely going to be there. However, with many of the commanders being killed and it seeming like some of the handmaids are going to be saved, I think we'll then see June start to focus on wanting to be reunited with Hannah again, and we'll see her looking for her. I think the only person who knows where Hannah could be who's going to be willing to assist her is Nick, and Nick's assistance to June is going to be the very thing that's going to cost him his life, as he'd be viewed as a traitor of Gilead. June symbolically and literally walked away from Nick in the previous episode, with her not going up to him at the wedding, even after contemplating doing so. So I don't think there's going to be any romance between them. June is obviously disappointed with Nick because of what he did with saving himself over all of the girls at Jezebel's, and I think him helping June potentially get close to Hannah will be viewed as the ultimate sacrifice, and that will be his moment of redemption. Nick and Luke both aren't making it out of this show alive, and sadly, even though I prefer Nick to Luke, I think he'll be the one that ends up dying. Do I think June and Hannah will be reunited? Personally, I don't think so. We know that Hannah is in the Testaments, which is set several years after The Handmaid's Tale, so a bleak ending could be on the horizon, with June maybe seeing Hannah and her not recognizing her mother. Or maybe even June being captured in Gilead and forced to be a prisoner, or she might even end up dead. It's going to be interesting to see what her fate's going to be, but I definitely don't think it'll be a happy one, which is going to be an interesting experience. There are genuinely so many different directions that the next episode could go in, but I feel like this next episode genuinely has the potential to be the best one in the season so far, so we'll just have to wait and see. So, there you have it, The Handmaid's Tale Season 6, Episode 9, Theories Explained. If you want to see every episode of The Handmaid's Tale Season 6 being broken down, then check the playlist below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What do you think will happen next? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.